The shuttle docked with a sharp hiss of pressure equalization. Astra Calder remained seated while the other cadets rushed to stand, eager to impress whoever waited on the other side of the airlock. Her heartbeat stayed slow, controlled, predictable. Planet Earth trained her well. When the hatch opened, heat and unfamiliar air struck her face. The corridor beyond was sterile metal and violet lighting. Lines of alien officers waited like statues, their armor catching the glare. A booming voice barked from the front. "Move! Now!" The cadets filed out. Astra rose last. The officer didn't appreciate her pace. "Human!" he snapped, stepping into her path. His scaled face stretched into something meant to resemble authority. "You were given an order." Astra looked at him, calm, unreadable, and stepped around without a word. Not defiance. Efficiency. They entered the central atrium of the Orion Interspecies Military Academy. The ceiling arched high above, a curved window revealing the star. They orbited, a compact blue dwarf radiating fierce light across the facility. Transparent walkways crossed multiple floors. Cadets of dozens of species moved like currents in a river. Every conversation died when they saw her. Whispers trailed behind her boots. "That's the human?" Deathworld species. They survived predators on their home planet. She looks small, fragile. Astra's height didn't help. Most cadets towered above her. Her black academy uniform lacked decoration. No rank, no medals. She had nothing to prove, and everything to represent. At the far end of the atrium stood a raised platform. On it, Commander Vesk Torak. Torak's frame was massive, easily 3 times her weight. His skin resembled polished obsidian, ridged with thick bands of muscle. 2 curved tusks framed his mouth, and his armor gleamed with the symbols of victories and campaigns. Power radiated from him like heat. On an instinct level, the other cadets leaned back when he moved. Torak stepped forward and let silence settle. Only then did he speak. "Welcome to the Orion Academy, where the finest warriors of the galaxy are trained. Here you will learn discipline, obedience, and unity." He paused to let the gravity of the moment sink in. "And you will witness failure." His eyes locked on Astra. The crowd shifted, attention piercing. Torak's voice carried iron. "Human, step forward." Astra walked to the front. The glassy floor reflected her steady gait. No hesitation, no nerves. The commander watched her, expression unreadable. "State your designation." Astra Calder. "Earth." Torak circled her slowly, inspecting. "You speak as if addressing an equal." She didn't answer. Silence, she found, revealed more than words. Torak stood shoulder to shoulder, close but not touching. "You evolved on a planet designed to kill anything that breathes, gravity higher than galactic standard, microbes that invade flesh, weather that tears cities apart." He leaned close, voice low enough only she could hear. "And yet here, you are nothing." Astra held her posture, eyes forward. He wanted a reaction. She denied him one. Torak straightened and spoke louder, for everyone. "Tell me, human, what do you fear?" Before she could reply, laughter echoed across the atrium. A tall cadet, covered in silver feathers, flared his wings. "She fears us, Commander." Another cadet chimed in. "Look at her. Her bones would snap in a real fight." Torak smiled, encouraged it. Astra finally spoke. "Fear is a luxury we evolved without." The sentence hit the room like a dropped blade. Some cadets scoffed, others shifted in discomfort. The feathered one stepped forward aggressively. "You think you are above us?" "No," Astra answered. "I don't waste energy thinking about you." The feathered cadet lunged. He didn't make contact. Astra sidestepped with a single pivot, letting his momentum carry him past her. He stumbled and corrected himself, but the movement cost him dignity. The room burst into whispers. Torak's smile vanished. Again, the cadet hissed, furious. A second attempt. Fast this time. He dove with talons extended toward her shoulder. She didn't evade. She simply adjusted her stance by a hair, just enough for his center of balance to betray him. He crashed into the railing with a sharp metallic clang. The impact echoed across the atrium. The cadet slumped, breath gone. Astra remained still, calm, neutral. Another cadet, one with plated armor and too much pride, stepped in. That was luck. Fight someone trained. He shoved her. Astra didn't resist. His push met something immovable. The shove sent him stumbling backward. The alien's boot skidded across the polished floor. She hadn't braced. She hadn't even shifted weight. Her balance came from years of training on a planet with higher gravity. Torak lifted a hand. Every cadet froze. His voice sharpened. Human. You are required to follow orders. When I speak, you answer. When I command, you obey. Astra looked him directly in the eyes. My presence here was a request from the Galactic Council, not obedience, mutual agreement. Gasps rippled through the cadets. Torak stepped closer. You misunderstand. You are not here for diplomacy. You are here to fail for their amusement. She did not blink. He leaned in. So fail. Astra spoke quietly. I don't perform on command. Torak's jaw flexed. He wanted to grab her, to shove her to her knees, but doing so would make him appear threatened by a silent human girl. He straightened. Very well. If words bore you, physical demonstration will clarify your place. He addressed the entire atrium. At tomorrow's training cycle, there will be a public assessment. The human will be tested. Astra let the words settle. Public. Assessment. Meaning humiliation. Torak tapped a control panel. The holographic schedule updated mid-air. Combat demonstration. Cadet Astra Calder. All cadets required to attend. The crowd reacted with excitement. No one had ever seen a Deathworld species in live combat. Torak faced her one last time. You may remain silent today, human. Tomorrow, silence will not save you. Astra's expression remained controlled. I'm not here to be saved. Torak turned away. The cadets swarmed around Astra once more, circling her like predators testing prey. Someone muttered, She's dead tomorrow. Another responded, No, she'll break, and we'll watch. Astra continued walking through them, undisturbed. Their threats slid off her like rain. Her father once told her, Strength isn't loud. Loudness is insecurity looking for applause. When she reached the dormitory wing, the hallway was empty and quiet. She slid her palm across the ID scanner. The door hissed open. Inside, the room was plain. Bed, desk, small window overlooking the training arena far below. She sat on the edge of the bed and removed her boots. A thought surfaced. Not fear, not anxiety, assessment. Torak wanted a reaction. He would get one, just not the one he expected. She lay back, eyes open, mind already breaking down tomorrow into angles, timing, weight distribution. Movements she would not need to use, but would understand anyway. Humanity didn't need to prove strength. They needed to prove control. The arena was built like a coliseum, a vast circle of matte black flooring surrounded by stacked viewing tiers. Every seat was filled. Cadets pressed against the railings, their eyes locked on the lone human at center stage. Astra Calder stood on the marked line, arms loose at her sides, breathing steady. She had slept well. Across from her, Commander Torak paced the elevated platform with the self-assured stride of someone who'd never been challenged. His armor reflected the harsh stadium lighting, casting fractured highlights across the walls. He raised a hand. Silence fell instantly. This demonstration, Torak announced, will expose the truth behind humanity's so-called strength. Astra remained still. Torak pointed toward the gated entrance on the left side of the arena. Veskin cadre, enter! The gate rumbled open. 6 cadets marched out in formation, broad-shouldered, armored exoskeletons integrated into their uniforms. They carried non-lethal impact staves that hummed faintly with energy. Their confidence was absolute. The lead Veskin scanned Astra with open contempt. "She's not even armed," the second added. "We'll make this fast." Astra said nothing. Torak lifted his staff. "Begin." The first attacker advanced at a measured pace, testing distance. His footsteps were heavy, announcing each shift of weight. Astra observed the angle of his shoulders, the slight drag of his left boot, the unnecessary tension in his jaw. He lunged. Astra slid 1 foot back, just an inch. The cadet's staff whistled through empty air. Momentum carried him forward. Before he could recover, Astra angled her body. Not striking, guiding. His own speed betrayed him. He stumbled past her and barely avoided crashing into the barrier. Gasps echoed. She returned to her original position. Torak's smile tightened. The second Veskin came in fast, spinning his staff overhead to intimidate. His species valued noise and spectacle. Astra's eyes followed only his hips, the true source of direction. The arc of his swing telegraphed everything. He aimed a sharp strike at her temple. Astra dipped her head just enough. The staff rushed by, disturbing only a few strands of her hair. Before he reset his stance, she shifted her balance. A simple pivot, heel planted, half-circle rotation. He overreached. His feet tangled. He hit the ground hard. The arena vibrated with the impact. Astra never touched him. Torak leaned forward at the podium. His voice carried through the loudspeakers, low and irritated. "You call that strategy? Move, human." Astra looked up at him. "I am moving." Displeasure rippled through the viewing tiers. The third Veskin didn't wait. He sprinted at full speed. His exosuit amplified his momentum, boots slamming into the floor like hammers. He roared as he closed distance. Astra didn't brace. She didn't step aside. She let him commit. At the final moment, she bent her knees a fraction and shifted her center of gravity backward. The move had a name in Earth combat training, the ghost step. His shoulder met nothing but air. His own speed pitched him off balance. Astra placed one hand lightly on the back of his armor, not pushing, just redirecting. He slid across the arena floor and skidded to a stop near the barrier. The cadets on the upper levels murmured. "She's reading their movements." "She isn't fighting. She's studying." Torak slammed his fist onto the podium, metal denting under his strength. "You are allowed to strike back," he barked. Astra replied without shifting her stance. "Why strike when self-control wins?" Torak gestured sharply to the remaining cadets. "Group assault." The last 3 attackers formed a triangle around her. 1 behind, 2 in front. They coordinated gestures. Their species trained in synchronized tactics. This time, they charged together. Astra inhaled through her nose. 3 threats. 1 solution, choose stillness. They converged. At the exact point where their trajectories would collide, Astra dropped to 1 knee. All 3 slammed into each other, staves clattering across the floor. It was over in seconds. The arena erupted into chaos, shouting, disbelief. Some cadets applauded. Others hissed, offended that someone so quiet could embarrass their best. "Fighters," Astra rose again and brushed dust from her knee. Torak descended from the platform. The crowd stilled. He reached the floor with a heavy thud. His breath fogged faintly in the cool air. "You think you're superior?" "No," Astra answered. "Just efficient." He circled her, studying every detail, posture, foot placement, breathing rhythm. "You avoided every strike. Accuracy is easier when emotion doesn't interfere." Torak's gaze narrowed. "You insult my academy with restraint." "Restraint is how humans survived a death world," she said. "We learned to waste nothing. Not energy, not movement, not fear." A pulse flickered across Torak's jaw, rage or something dangerously close to uncertainty. He snapped his fingers. The mech racks along the arena wall activated. A training bot powered up and rolled forward, standing 3 meters tall. Reinforced alloy plating, blunt weapon attachments. Not a cadet, a machine built to crush resistance. Torak spread his arms. No instincts. No emotions. No hesitation. Let's see how your silence handles this. The mech's optical sensors scanned Astra. Combat mode engaged. It lunged with mechanical speed, far faster than any of the Veskins. Astra ducked under the first swing and pivoted around the second, boots gliding across the smooth floor. The machine adapted instantly, striking again from a new angle. Astra slid backward, never losing balance. Torak observed with growing agitation. Stop avoiding. That would be illogical. The mech slammed a fist down where she had been half a breath earlier. The floor cratered. Dust sprayed outward. Astra stepped behind it. Quiet, minimal. Her hand touched a panel near the base of its neck. One precise press of a release latch, the kind most people wouldn't notice. The mech shut down. Torak stared, stunned. How did you... Astra pointed to a strip of chipped metal along the mech's shoulder joint. Maintenance was rushed. The locking pin wasn't fully seated. She stepped back to center. Line? You don't need force when everyone else hands you. Errors. The arena went silent. Torak's command staff stood motionless in the upper tiers, waiting for him to react. He descended another step toward her, voice dropping to a threatening whisper. You undermine authority with every breath. Astra didn't waver. I follow orders. I don't surrender dignity. Torak stopped less than a meter from her. You think not fighting proves something. She finally shifted her weight. Not defensive, not aggressive, simply grounded. It proves I'm not afraid. Torak's tusked jaw tightened. Tomorrow, he said, there will be a final demonstration. Not against cadets. Against me. A ripple ran through the arena. Astra's response was almost quiet enough to miss. That won't change the outcome. He leaned close, voice barely audible. You will kneel. Astra's eyes locked with his. Calm, unbroken. You first. The silence that followed was absolute. The next cycle came sooner than anyone expected. The Academy broadcasted the announcement across every deck. Final demonstration. Commander Torak versus human cadet Astra Calder. Attendance mandatory. The arena filled beyond capacity. Cadets clustered in aisles and along the stair rails. Even officers from restricted divisions found reasons to inspect equipment. The tension was electric. Astra entered through the lower gate. No escorts, no armor, no weapon. Her steps were quiet, purposeful, deliberate. Whispers swarmed the stadium. She beat the mech without striking. Commander Torak is ending her career. Humans shouldn't be here. Astra ignored them. She walked to the center line again, palms relaxed at her sides. She wasn't nervous. The air tasted of ozone and metal dust. The arena lights were too bright, harsh enough to burn glare into her vision. She squinted once, then adapted. Torak entered from the opposite gate. He wore heavy combat armor, reinforced at the joints and lined with kinetic dampeners. The plating extended to his forearms and shins. A long diagonal scar shone across his helmet, fresh, carved there deliberately, a threat marker. He descended the stairs one deliberate step at a time. Each impact echoed through the arena like a hammer. Astra spoke first. You came armored. Torak removed his helmet and tucked it under his arm. His voice was deep and controlled. You claim restraint is strength. I claim strength is dominance. He slid his helmet onto the rack beside the arena wall. No weapons. No mech? No cadets? He spread his hands. Just you. Just me. The silence rippled outward from the arena floor. Torak moved toward Astra until only a meter separated them. She didn't shift stance. She looked up at him, her face unreadable. Last chance, he murmured. Kneel. Admit humans are insignificant. Save yourself. Astra blinked once. No. Torak inhaled through his tusks and spoke for the entire arena. Begin. He struck without warning. His fist shot forward in a straight line, a blow trained through decades of war. Astra shifted her weight just enough that his knuckles grazed empty air. Her boots skidded half a centimeter. No retreat. She absorbed the velocity with her core, redirecting the force past her shoulder. She didn't counter. Torak snarled. He swung again. Faster. A low strike, rising from hip to chin. Astra bent backward, spine folding with precise control. His forearm sliced past her nose. She returned upright just as he stepped in for another blow. He was strong, faster than she expected, but he moved with rage. Rage betrayed pattern. "You won't attack," Torak growled. Throwing a sweeping kick, she lifted her leg, letting his shin sail beneath it. "I have no need." He slammed his elbow toward her head. Astra ducked and pivoted, sliding behind him. He spun to face her, chest heaving. "You mock me." "I mirror you," she answered. The arena lights burned overhead. Sweat shimmered across Torak's shoulders. He charged. The sudden burst of acceleration cracked the air. Astra didn't retreat. She stepped inside his reach, closer than comfort. Torak's momentum collided with her stillness. She placed a palm on his chest plate. The touch was soft, but the effect was devastating. Torak stumbled. His boots scraped for traction. He recovered by force of will. "How did you learn to read movement like that?" Astra didn't break eye contact. "We evolved where hesitation killed you, where every shadow might hold teeth. On Earth, awareness wasn't training. It was survival." His next punch was fueled by pride. She dropped her weight and pivoted, redirecting his mass past her hip. He went down to one knee, not from impact, but imbalance. A murmur tore through the crowd. Astra didn't move in to exploit the weakness. She stepped back. "You stand up when you want to," she said. "Not when I force you." Torak rose slowly. His breathing turned rough, shoulders rising with every inhale. "You refuse to strike," he said. "Why?" "Because you're trying to win a fight," Astra replied. "I'm trying to win a mind!" Torak roared and lunged again, aiming to lift her from the floor and slam her down. Astra shifted, letting his arm slip past her torso. She caught his wrist gently, trapping nothing, just resting her fingers, against the vulnerable tendon near his thumb. Her hand didn't restrain him, her stillness did. Torak froze. Astra leaned close enough that only he could hear the words. "Control isn't force. It's choice." The arena fell breathless. Torak tried to move. He couldn't. Astra had positioned her stance at a perfect angle, leveraging his own momentum. If he pushed harder, he would dislocate his shoulder. She let go. Torak's arm dropped uselessly to his side. Not damaged, just neutralized. He staggered back, stunned. "What are you?" he whispered. "A human," Astra said. "One who knows you're not my enemy." Torak stared at her. "Chest heaving! You could have humiliated me," he rasped. "You're doing that yourself." His eyes narrowed in pain. Not physical, but the pain of recognition. "You're saying I'm weak." "No," Astra answered. "I'm saying you're afraid." The words detonated like an explosion. Torak's breath stuttered. She continued. "You fear losing control. You fear being seen without it. That terror is louder than your voice." He felt every cadet's eyes on him. The image he built, dominant, unshakable, cracked. Astra took a single step forward. "I didn't come here to dominate you," she said quietly. "I came to show another way." Torak stood frozen. Astra then turned her back to him, not out of arrogance or dismissal, but trust. That was the final strike. Torak dropped to one knee. To everyone's shock, he bowed his head. The arena gasped. No one breathed. Torak's voice came rough, stripped of pride. "I apologize." Astra stopped mid-step. Slowly, she looked over her shoulder. She didn't gloat. She didn't speak. Silence carried more weight than any victory parade. Torak remained kneeling. "You presented unwavering control," he said. "You faced aggression without hatred. You showed discipline beyond strength." He exhaled shakily. "For that, I kneel." Cadets across the arena lowered their heads instinctively. Species that never bowed to anything leaned forward in respect. Astra offered a single nod. "Rise." "Commander." Torak stood, changed. Whispers flowed again, but not of contempt, awe, fear, recognition. As Astra walked toward the exit gate, she heard a whispered truth ripple through the crowd. Humans don't conquer planets. They conquer the room. Astra didn't look back. She didn't need to. The galaxy had already moved. For the first time since Astra arrived, the Academy felt quiet, not silent, just changed. The corridors were normally full of noise, boots clanging, commands echoing, cadets shouting at each other across training bays. But today, every sound carried hesitation. Every voice dropped near her. Every conversation stopped when she entered a room. Respect and fear lived together uneasily. Astra walked through the central training deck toward the briefing hall. Cadets parted instinctively, forming a corridor without being asked. They stepped aside not because she demanded space, but because they no longer knew how to exist comfortably near her. They had watched a commander kneel. Astra didn't enjoy the reaction. She didn't hate it either. It simply was. As she entered the briefing hall, conversations halted. The massive walls were lined with holographic battle simulations. Cadets studied them in clusters, whispering strategic analysis. Eyes tracked her every step, some filled with curiosity, some with reverence, a few with resentment. Astra chose a seat at the back, not caring for attention. Her plan was simple. Finish her assignment, stay quiet, avoid unnecessary confrontation. She didn't expect Torak to enter the room. He stepped into the hall without armor, wearing a simple dark uniform. No symbols, no medals, just a fabric tunic that made him look, somehow, smaller, less untouchable. Every cadet snapped to attention. Astra remained seated. Torak noticed and gave the faintest nod. She acknowledged him by tilting her chin, not subservient, but polite. He activated the projection table. Blue light filled the room. A rotating hologram of a fractured moon appeared, its surface torn apart. "This," Torak said, "is the result of a misunderstanding." A murmur passed through the ranks. It began with assumptions, pride, misjudging another species. It ended with a war that never needed to happen. He paused, letting the weight land. We misjudged humans, too. No one moved. Torak turned toward Astra. Cadet called her front. Astra stood and walked to the center. Her pulse stayed even. She disliked being spotlighted, but ignoring a direct request would escalate things. Torak did not command this time, he asked. When she reached the projection field, Torak spoke to the entire hall. Astra called her, demonstrated something rare. She restrained herself when she had power. She offered dignity when others offered humiliation. He faced the cadets. This academy teaches combat. She taught command. A low ripple of surprise moved through the room. Astra stayed centered, hands behind her back. Commander, that demonstration was not victory. It was awareness. Torak held her gaze. Instruction accepted. He tapped the projection controls again. The fractured moon vanished, replaced by a simulation of a dense urban battlefield. Cadets leaned in. This drill, Torak announced, requires a squad leader. Every species here trains differently. Every culture has different instincts. He gestured toward Astra. Humanity teaches something we lack. He handed her the control band. Astra stared at it. I didn't ask to lead. Torak's voice softened. Something no one thought possible. No great leader ever does. She accepted the band and slid it onto her wrist. The display activated, revealing squad telemetry. A group of cadets, 4 species, assembled on the floor. Feathered, armored, multi-limbed, slender, agile. All of them elite, all waiting for her command. Astra inhaled. Objective? Torak answered, extract the civilian avatar without casualties. She nodded and activated the sim. The room dissolved into holographic cityscape, broken walls, shifting shadows, tight streets. The cadets moved into formation. Astra analyzed positions, distances, and escape routes instantly. Plated armors, she said. Front. Feathered recon. High elevation. Forearm support. Rear guard. The squad executed without hesitation. They advanced. Astra stayed behind them, watching patterns. Not giving constant orders. Only when necessary. The first ambush triggered. Hostile drones swarmed from a rooftop. Astra raised her hand. Her group froze. Do not attack, she said. Let them commit. The drones dove. Now, vertical split. Her team separated into different elevations and angles. The drones shot through the open gap, overshooting completely. Astra guided the plated cadet forward, knocking the attackers off balance. No fighting, just direction. The squad secured the civilian avatar minutes later. Torak ended the simulation. The hall blinked back into reality. Cadets stared. One of them stepped forward, a feathered cadet who once mocked her. How did you know they would overshoot? Speed is predictable. Ego is worse. He lowered his head. Another cadet, the plated one who had shoved her on the first day, looked genuinely confused. Why help us? We rejected you, Astra answered honestly. I am not here to win against you. I am here to win with you. Torak exhaled, a subtle release of tension, barely noticeable unless you were trained to notice the smallest changes. She teaches unity, he said slowly. Through restraint, Astra turned toward him. Restraint is not weakness. It is knowing when your strength matters, Torak held her eyes for a long moment. Then he did something that stunned the entire hall. He addressed Astra not as a commander, not as superior, but as equal. Human, teach us. The room froze. Astra nodded once. I will show what Earth teaches. But understand, humans are dangerous not because we fight. She paused, letting their attention settle. But because we choose when not to. Torak stepped aside. The cadets formed a circle around her, waiting for instruction. Astra began. Hours later, the hall emptied. Cadets dispersed, whispering not about her strength but about her clarity, about how she made them sharper without raising a fist. Astra collected her gear and walked toward the exit. Torak intercepted her at the threshold. You changed something today, he said. Astra adjusted the strap on her bag. I didn't change the academy. They just saw what was always possible. Torak extended his hand. No hostility. No challenge. Respect. Astra hesitated only a second before shaking it. Earth, Torak said, is not a death world. It is a training ground for leaders. Astra released his hand. We learn to survive everything alone. What happens when we learn together? Torak smiled, without aggression this time. Then the galaxy won't know what to do with us. Astra turned toward the corridor. The lights dimmed behind her as the doors slid open. She stepped forward without hesitation. The academy had feared the Deathworld girl. Now it followed her, and she didn't look back.